What's going on, y'all? It's your boy A, and I'm back with another video. Yeah, back with another video. One more, I would say down to earth, one more that I feel like everybody can relate to it, especially if you're from New York. This video from the channel named Nick Shirley. This guy right here. He doing like street interviews, and the topic is like the cost of living basically in New York City. I feel like everybody who from New York can relate, and just in general, people like around the country can relate and see the cost of living, like renting or even mortgage, is like through the roof right now. It's very like hard to live, no matter what bracket you in. Like you can feel the effects of the cost. Things is up right now. It's not easy. It's a struggle for a lot of people right now. So I wanted to watch this video and react with y'all, and you know, we go through it, break it down, and y'all tell me what y'all think.
How hard is it to survive in New York City? New York City is the largest city in America with the most people, highest prices, and there's a reason why they call this place the concrete jungle. Simply because everyone is just trying to survive. And with rents being the highest in all of America at $4,500 a month for an average apartment in New York City, it's increasingly making it harder to survive. Between the rich and the poor, the wealth gap couldn't be larger. While you have some people living in $100 million apartments, you also have over 500,000 people living in government housing programs like Section 8. New York City is split into 5 boroughs, with Manhattan being the wealthiest and the Bronx being the poorest. In this video, I'm going to take you through the roughest parts of New York City and all the way to Billionaire Row to show you just how hard it is to survive and exposing the methods the government uses to keep you trapped in poverty. Let's start by heading to the lowest income borough and go to the Bronx. How hard would you say it is to survive here in the Bronx?
It's pretty good. It depends.
Is it pretty easy to get by? Is it hard to get by? Out of the 5 boroughs, the Bronx is the poorest out of the 5 boroughs.
That's true.
That is true though, I ain't gonna lie.
Why is it so complicated and hard to live here in the Bronx?
I mean, you can sit by yourself around, you know?
There's a lot of crackheads, drugs and shit ruin people's lives, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Would you consider the Bronx to be an accurate image of what New York City is like, being part of the 5 boroughs?
That's the most accurate part of New York. This is the real New York, because even though the people that you see over there, like in Manhattan or in any other places, most of the people is from the Bronx, because the Bronx is where the rent is less high.
And how much is rent here?
Depends. Rent could be $400 a month for every individual. Depends the kind of deal you got in it. But it's
when you
not
say deal, do you mean like the deal you make with the government for
yes,
Section 8 housing?
The Section 8 housing, the welfare housing.
What percentage of people would you say are living off government benefits here in the Bronx?
I say like 99%.
I'm not upset with y'all because I know you're mentally ill.
You expect Section 8 to be bad, bro, but there's the new buildings that's coming out with the Section 8, laundromat, gym, all that, bro. You'd be surprised in the projects, all that, bro. It's getting nice, bro, with that Section 8, bro, that government assistance, I ain't gonna lie.
Are you guys...
But see, this is why Trump came in, and he about to abolish that. Like, you only gonna be on it for 2 years, because I would love to pay $400 rent. And I'm sure a lot of y'all watching this video right now would love to pay $400 for rent. And you got people who like literally pass this down from generation to generation to generation. Like, they don't even try like to get better or, you know, make their living situation better. They just stay right there. I mean, everybody trying to survive. I totally understand that. But when you abuse it, you're going to have somebody who come in and say, yeah, we can't abuse it no more. Because $400 for rent and living in a luxury building, you live in a dream. And you got people who busting their ass, going to work every day, working 40-hour shifts. Some people working 60 hours. Some people doing 40, so that's 80 hours a week. And they can't even like live in some of them luxury buildings, so they still struggling to get by. It be that real and that rough out here. It ain't easy out here. This New York City ain't for the weak. I'm telling you.
Living on Section 8?
Oh, me, yeah.
Yeah.
How would you describe life here in the Bronx?
Sucks.
Why does it suck?
Because it's New York, where all the crack is, all that shit is at.
Let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
And New York sucks. I'm sorry, I've been living here for 42 years, and it sucks. It really sucks, boss.
What's life out here in the Bronx?
Beautiful. It feels like a third world country. You get to live life and see it for what it is. Some people that live like celebrities, they regret not being able to come outside because they're afraid that people will jump on top of them. I love it because the kids got the freedom of moving everywhere they want to move and do everything they got to do.
He said life here sucks.
No, it doesn't suck because you'd rather have the freedom of being able to move and enjoy life for what it is than being segregated.
How much money does somebody need to make here to live good in the Bronx?
You should be able to make at least $60 a day to live good in the Bronx.
You're smoking crack. Stop.
Between
that guy, that's cap. That's 1,000% cap. Even if you live in the Bronx, what can $60 a day really do for you? Like, you living like at the lowest of low budget. Your rent probably like they're saying $400. And then you getting maybe dollar pizza or getting like crown fried chicken for maybe like $10, $11, $12. Get your little smokes or whatnot, your block work or not. $60 a day, I don't think that's gonna cut it. Not if you got kids, not if you got a car, not if you trying to live a real, decent life. $60 a day ain't nothing. That ain't. If it was that easy, trust me. A lot of people would be living luxurious. $60 a day ain't cutting it. I don't know what kind of life he living, but for the real average person, $60 ain't cutting it. I'm telling you that.
the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island.
Yeah.
How would you compare the Bronx to a borough like Manhattan?
I mean, the Bronx, in terms of violence, like per capita, like it's probably like number 1 or 2.
Chitty chitty bang bang, nigga.
I want to say like Brooklyn and the Bronx used to always be back and forth, but Brooklyn has got gentrified a lot. They're trying to gentrify a little bit out here, but the Bronx is almost always number 1 for violence.
Oh, look right here! Like, look right here. We got something happening right here in the park. Somebody's stealing something. Now he just bit him.
You can clearly see they're on something, you know.
And what makes it so hard to live here and survive in the Bronx?
Economics aside, just the surroundings, you know. It's like it's a rough area, high crime rate. It's like you don't get the same amenities that you would get like in a suburban town, you know. Like, you know, there's not a lot of after school activities for kids. So as you can see, like when kids get let out of school, it's almost like kids all over the place are just, you know, and that's a little kid right there.
Yeah, they just came in flash. Look, we got some kids coming here. Look, we got kids popping out of here.
Yeah. So
they see the camera and they pop out.
You know, that'll be like a 12, 13 tour.
What are you doing?
So yeah.
Now we just got some more kids coming out.
Yeah. So it gets
like what's going on here in the Bronx?
Yeah.
Look at this. No regard for anybody. They're yelling, pushing kids over. Shoes are falling off.
Where's your dad? Where's your mom? Where is your family?
How hard is it to survive here in the Bronx?
It's not that hard. You just gotta survive. You gotta maintain. You gotta have a steady mindset.
Man, how would you compare the Bronx to Manhattan?
There's nothing compared to the Manhattan. I'm gonna be honest with you. Manhattan is beautiful, but the Bronx is poverty. Let's talk about it. It's most poverty people that live out here.
And why do you think the Bronx has created a place where there is so much poverty?
Because of the low-income people, blacks, Hispanics, immigrants, stuff like that. You see all these new buildings being created. We live in poverty, bro. If you've seen the burnt down Bronx from years then, the Bronx came a long way, brother.
Do you think it's a problem with the system, or do you think it's a problem with mindsets of individuals?
I think it's both. I honestly think it's both.
And how much money would you consider a good month here in the Bronx, or a good income?
It depends, because some people are on Section 8, some people are on government assistance, so it all depends on your income and what you're trying to get.
But if you're trying to live good here and provide for a family of you and your son and your wife, how much do you think you need to be making?
Probably like $1,000, maybe $800.
Really? So you can survive just making $1,000 here in the Bronx if you are on Section 8?
That's just including your rent and your light bill. That's not including the food expense costs and the rise of food that's increasing throughout the years. Because obviously food is increasing. Eggs was just $10 a month.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
So he's saying $800 to $1,000 could get you by, and that's including in like your rent. get you by. That tell you that's the Bronx, because that can't get you by down here and like other parts of NYC. At least from what I know, and living like a real decent life or whatnot. $800,000, yeah, because a 1-bedroom alone in like a decent area in New York, even in Brooklyn, 1-bedroom, you're probably looking at maybe you could catch something for maybe in a nice building, maybe like 25, 23, 28. Like $1,000 ain't gonna cut it. Cause you ain't really finding too much. Like before you could get something like that, you get a big 1-bedroom for a band. Now that ain't happening. You probably get a room for a band. It's price is going up, man. Cost of living is hella high out here.
So everything's increasing, you know what I'm saying?
Wow. How hard is it to survive here financially in the Bronx?
Well, it's really hard because of the rent. The rent in the Bronx is like the worst problem that we have. It's not only in the Bronx, it's in the community. Like everywhere, the rent is so high that you got to do so many things to survive.
What's the average rent somebody is going to have to pay here if they're not on Section 8?
For a 2-bedroom apartment, it will be $3,500.
And do you think Section 8 kind of incentivizes people to stay poor? That way they can stay inside of the brackets to get the cheap housing?
I would say so. It got to be another way. I'll say so. But however, we need Section 8 to survive. Otherwise, how can we do it? And if we make certain amount of money, a little bit of money, more money, then we don't get that support.
Yes,
and it's hard.
It's kind of like twisted, because if you do well, then you're going to be paying more. But if you
That's crazy.
If you pay,
I have a bachelor's degree in clinical psychology. If I go to work, a regular job, I won't be getting any help. I could only come out here whenever I got a little time to make extra money to survive.
What's a good day of business like out here?
I'm not going to respond to that.
No, we can't do that for taxes, right?
Huh?
We can't do that for taxes,
No,
right?
I didn't say that.
So that's sad, because this is a lady with a college degree in clinical studies, I believe she said. And she can't even, the job where she was getting there, it still won't be enough for her to make like a decent living, like, live decent. Because nobody wants to go to school and do all of these things to work and still slumming it. You want to live a decent life, So she can't even make decent life money at a job where she got a degree in. I'm like conflicted. I'm 50-50. Like, a part of me, I don't like the Section 8 abuse, but then another part of me, I totally see why, because they don't make it easy for you like to survive out here, which I don't think that it should really be that way. And I feel this way about everybody. I don't feel we were just put here on this earth just to work, pay bills, and die. I feel like we're supposed to experience life on like to the fullest level. And I don't think like working to survive is the full experience of life. I feel like a lot of people are stressed out because of that. They, go bald. They start getting into drugs, overly drinking, because they so stressed out about just trying to maintain and like have a life. It wears you down. It stresses you out. I see it a lot in a lot of people. Like, I see them like they doing that just to cope, but like just to maintain out here. And I don't feel like life should be like that. I feel like they need to find a better way, a better system for everybody to survive. Like, it shouldn't be this hard to live. Like, people is working 2-3 jobs. You shouldn't have to work 2-3 jobs just to live one life. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm gonna keep saying that until the system changes. Like, I don't believe that. Like, if you want to make extra money so you could do other things, that's cool. But to really do that and that's just so you could get by, I don't feel like life should be like that. No, I really don't believe so. They're making the housing too expensive for regular people, which majority of the world is middle class regular people. At least America is middle class people. So you shouldn't make it so hard for us. Like, this is the majority of your population. We can't just focus on the top and then, give all the benefits to the bottom and then everybody in the middle just forget about them. That ain't right. I don't believe that.
The reason why this lady, despite having a college degree, is working on the streets only accepting cash, and that's because of what's called the poverty trap. And you must understand this about government benefits in Section 8. They were designed to help low-income families afford housing, but there's a catch. Let's say you're a single mom in New York City making $30,000 a year, you qualify for Section 8, and maybe you're only paying $500 a month for rent, while the government...
Hey, $30,000 a year ain't nothing. That, not in New York, that ain't nothing. $30,000 a year. I'm gonna do the math for y'all right quick, just so y'all can see. And this 30,000, we're gonna divide it by 52, because it's 52 weeks in a year. That's only $576.92 a year, and they're gonna tax that. So you coming home with maybe like what, like a $400 check, maybe even like three and change almost for a week. Come on, you gonna give an adult $400, $300 for the week with kids and all that?
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
But the moment your income rises, maybe you get a raise or a better job, the system starts taking away your benefits, your rent goes up, and if you make too much money, you lose Section 8 entirely, which means if you go from making $30,000 to $45,000, you might actually not feel richer because you're actually losing money because you'll have to pay market value for rent.
They don't want you to win. They want you broke. They want you miserable. They want you unhappy.
You actually poorer than...
Look at the rents at some of these places, though. 1 to 2 bedroom. This is on 405 West 206th Street. This is 3100 to 4600. This is only 1 to 2 bedrooms. Look at this. This ain't no luxury area where you be like, oh man, I can't wait to live here. You paying $4,600 to live there? Come on. And to my first, I'm not trying to knock nobody and make fun of anybody making $30,000. I just feel like that ain't a livable wage. Not in New York. Not with the price of things going on out here. Hell to the no. Got kids to take care of. You want to go on trips. You want to, dress nice. So what you telling me? That's not for you because you make $30,000? Like, yeah, you might not have the best of things, but you should still be able to afford a life. Like, how are people doing it? Now I see why they abuse the Section 8. They pass it down because it do be hard for some people to really like make a living and come up. Like, it really do be hard. A lot of people don't have education and not really applying themselves, which is their own inflicted circumstance. But like I said, I'm on the fence. I see both sides.
We're just making $30,000 a year.
This. For $2,700 to $4,500 for a 1 to 3 bedroom to live in this building. And these buildings, what they making now, the apartments in that, they ain't even huge. They small. They tiny. Y'all, people from New York, y'all could comment down below and what's the word? Attest to this. These ain't no huge apartments. They nice. They got amenities, but ain't no huge apartments to be.
So you stay poor, you keep your housing, you try to level up, and suddenly you're punished. This is why it's called the poverty trap. And politicians know that this is a way to control the people. If you make more money, you lose your benefits. They silently say, stay poor and we'll provide for you, but don't worry, we will still blame the rich for keeping you poor. And before we leave the Bronx and head into Manhattan, I want to take you guys to one of the infamous projects inside of the Bronx.
What's life like in a project here in the Bronx?
Well, just to give you a reference, you know it's not going to be the safest place when there's a warning sign that clearly says stop warning.
Let's see, because stop warning only authorized. Yeah, they like to drag it. Like, this is stop, be careful. You might lose your life walking in it. They like dragging.
So for most people it's chill because they know the people, but you can always find some dicey individuals,
We headed into the project and my friend Jesus made an interesting comparison between the projects and the prison.
It's kind of different than I was expecting.
Yeah, so the problem with the projects is they almost, like, the architectural design, these have been here for like decades, and they're like this brick layer, it's like synonymous with the exact same architecture that they use in the jails. So you're almost like institutionalized to normalize like this type of living environment. Like if you go to like Rikers Island, Like the walls look just like this.
Really?
Yeah.
From the Bronx, we head to Manhattan just to see how different life was between the rich and the poor, and eventually make our way all the way to billionaire Row. And I do gotta say, it is a lot different compared to the Bronx. Now we're gonna head over to the East Village, where the average rent for an apartment is around $4,500 a month.
What?
Yeah.
Man, look at hell no.
After you're done paying
$4,500 a month for the average rent. That's crazy. But I wanted to say, you can see the difference between the Bronx and Manhattan. And if you're from New York, you know, New York City is the city. All the 5 boroughs is the city. But we from New York, we know Manhattan. When we say we going to the city, we talking about Manhattan. That's where, you know, the more, what we say, like rich people, like the millionaires, billionaires, what they be talking about, yeah, they most likely live over there. Majority of them. That's where the money at for New York, Manhattan.
your rent, your taxes, and your groceries. How much money do you have left over?
I'm usually borrowing money.
Really?
You're broke! You're fucking poor!
You're borrowing money every month just to stay afloat.
My mother-in-law has to help me out, and then I have to give it back to her, so, yeah.
Some people here are just going in debt trying to survive.
Yep, basically. I want to move out of New York, but I can't.
And why can't you move out of New York?
I'm born and raised. This is where I belong.
So even though you're going into debt to survive here in New York City, you still prefer to live here than any other city in the world?
Yeah, kind of stupid, but yeah.
And why is that?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. I have no clue. It's kind of stupid, but yeah.
And do you think the government, or do you think the government leaders here are doing enough to bring down prices?
No, because they just cut my medical insurance for me and my kids because I make too much money.
Because you make too much money?
Uh-huh. According to the government, I make too much money.
So how much shift are you making to get any benefits from the government?
Obviously less than what I make.
And are you paying state, federal, and city tax?
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting taxed 3 times versus somebody who lives outside of New York City who gets taxed just twice.
Yep.
Wow. And you choose to stay here.
Yeah. Tell me. I'm sorry.
Another thing that makes it tough about living in New York City is that versus just paying state and federal tax, you also have an added New York City tax on all the residents that live inside of New York City. And I met this guy who decided to move out of his house onto the street and now lives rent-free on the street with all of his belongings.
This right here is when you had enough. You just can't take it. Like, it literally got to him. For him to say, you know what, I'm going to move out of my place and I'm going to live on the street. The stress got to him. It's just too much. It's overwhelming. I'm not saying what he did was right. And I'm not saying what he did was wrong either, because the stress could really take you over. I personally wouldn't make that decision to say, I'm going to pick myself up out of my apartment and live on the sidewalk. But the stress and the cost of living, you ain't got it and you ain't really mentally tough, it will break you. It will break you out here.
I can pay rent. Did really well for myself for 10 years, so I'm taking like a early midlife, possibly permanent. We'll see how it goes. Retirement.
Are you gonna be living out here on the streets now, or what?
Yeah, till I decide it's not for me. It's kind of freeing not have to pay rent and only having like a P.O. box and cell phone bill as my overhead. Really, probably one of the only ways I'll be able to save money and travel and whatnot.
So what are you planning to do with all this stuff right here you have on the street corner?
Keep it.
And does anybody heckle on you for being out here on the corner with all your stuff?
Not too bad, no.
Wow, so instead of paying $4,500 for rent or $1,100 for rent, you've chosen to take your stuff out here and be on the street?
Yep.
Yeah, that brother's starving.
And you think more New Yorkers and other people are going to start doing the same thing because the rent's so high here?
More than likely, yeah. I've already had probably in the past 2 weeks 5 or 10 people saying, not a bad idea. Maybe we could share real estate here.
Go lay your ass back down and come holler at me tomorrow when you sober. Because you high right now.
I said, public sidewalk, do what you want. And that's, kind of my attitude. Live and let live.
And nobody comes by and said, hey, you can't sleep here on public sidewalk?
Nope. Have not had anyone say that yet.
Now you feel just as comfortable living in an apartment as you do here on the public sidewalk with your lawn chair?
I feel more comfortable without the overhead, without having to worry if I booked a vacation, or are they going to get me off? Am I going to need to cancel the flight? Do I need to buy travel insurance, vacation insurance? I don't have to worry about any of that. I can pick up and go, throw this stuff in one of the units and do what I want. Just kind of be untethered and not have bills and rent and electric, and it's really freeing. It's really freeing. This is probably the most stress-free and comfortable I've been in, probably since I moved here.
Instead of having to pay the extreme right here.
So let's just imagine. Let's sit back and just imagine that we followed his train of thought. We said, yeah, we're gonna stop paying rent. We're gonna take all our belongings and go to the sidewalk and just live on the sidewalk. And then we're gonna have money for vacations and just to get up, we could go on vacation or whatnot. Imagine now you going on vacation, you in a nice resort, you drinking for free, you having the best time, you sleeping in the nice comfy beds. Y'all know them hotel beds be so soft. Them pillows be A1. I don't know what they do with them pillows. Them pillows just be like you could sleep it on a cloud. Air conditioning and everything. Just so nice. You going on vacation on let's say you going to ball out, you going for a whole week, even 2 weeks. Now 2 weeks up, you going to come back to live on the sidewalk. Again, I'm not saying what he did was wrong. Just a personal decision I wouldn't make, and I wouldn't advise nobody else to make that decision. Because to me personally, it don't make sense. Because it's like, your home is your home. That's your comfort zone. For me to, and you could, control certain things in your home. He has no control over what's going on outside. If it start raining, he just have to deal with the rain. If it starts snowing, he got to deal with it. If they start shooting outside, he got to be like ducking and risking it. But like I said, the stress of trying to do everything what he just said can really get to you. This man right here, he's talking regular. He had a mental breakdown. He couldn't take it no more. That's what happened. And not for nothing, I feel like this is gonna be more common because it is really rough. It's just like in LA. If you go to LA, it's a whole like city like on the sidewalk of people just living there. And it's really because a lot of them, if you talk to them, I talked to them, they just like, yeah, the cost of living was too much. They couldn't afford it. They couldn't maintain it. They just had to move out to the street. It's rough. America really need to find a way, do something like either bring down the cost of living with the rent, or bring up the pay so people could afford it and afford to pay their bills and still have money left over. Not just to pay their bills, because like I said, not just work to die, but pay your bills and still, go out with the family, go out with your friends, go out on a date here and there. Like, come on now. We the people.
New York City, this man's moved out here onto the street. He's sunbathing right now. He's got his eyes closed. He's just having a great day out here. And he's moved his pallets out here. This is what he sleeps on. Versus paying the extreme right here in New York City versus an apartment like these right here that go for just $4,500 a month.
So if this is the apartment that he's talking about right here, this apartment is going for $4,800 a month. That's the studio. That is the studio. The one bedroom is $6,200 a month. The two bedroom is $9,965 a month. She. Call that $10,000 a month. So a two bedroom is going for $2,000. A two bedroom is going for $10,000 a month. Who is living here? This is not one person. This definitely have to be roommate. But to even be paying $5,000 a month to have a roommate is crazy to me. To me, I could never see myself paying this to live in an apartment building, and it's not like a luxury condo and I'm like on a penthouse or something, and it's hugely spacious. Like, this is crazy. They want regular working people. Because what job you have to be working to live here? You have to be a very good lawyer, maybe even like, I can't even say the the maybe even the police captain, and you working overtime. This is ridiculous. There should be no rent like this. This is a sin. This is a sin. This is wickedness.
For a one-bedroom studio apartment, he's decided to move himself out here onto the streets, taking the apartment outside, and sleeping out here on the public sidewalk. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard would you say it is to survive here in New York City?
10. It's not built for everybody.
How much does somebody need to make here in New York City to live good?
I'm gonna give you like a high answer right now, but it's like, it really depends.
How much is a lot? You say high, you might be high yourself right now, but how much is high?
Well, like,
If you're looking to move here, you could get a really shitty apartment, but for the most part, let's say average, at least over $2,000 a month. In Manhattan, you could live up in the Bronx or Brooklyn and get a little bit cheaper, but you're taking a risk there. Food-wise, I would say probably you want to set aside at least $500 a month, and then on top of that, going out, I mean, like a tequila soda here is $10, $12. So like, I mean, obviously if you're budgeting, you may not be able to do that. Or on top of rent, I would put aside at least $1,000, $1,500 for expenses. So that's $3,500 a month.
And that's before even taxes.
Yes. So yeah, no, it's tough to live here. And then what's it like to date here? That's another thing.
I mean, there's a lot of beautiful women here in New York City.
There's a lot, but then if you don't have any money, now of course love is a little bit is more than just money, but you go on a first date, you want to pay, and if you don't have the money, it's tough. So
they could just go to Billionaire Row over there.
Yeah, you could maybe get a sugar mama, sugar daddy. There's a lot of people like that. One thing
Hey, let me tell y'all, dating in New York, you better have that money. These girls want to go out on dates. They want to go out on nice dates. They want to snap, take their nice pictures for Instagram. Now you ain't dating, you ain't doing no little cheap date. You might find 1 or 2 girls like that, but I would say the majority. And if it don't apply to you, don't let it fly to you. But a vast majority, from what I know, you better have that money. You better have that money. You're not gonna want to go on no cheap date. I'm telling you, it's rare. They fall in between.
you'll notice about New York if you move here, a lot of people are funded by their parents. Maybe not 100%, but and that's cool. Like if your parents want to do that, but if you're by yourself and you're just trying to make it in this city, it can be tough. It can be really difficult.
You want a nice lady to take out for dinner tonight. How much is that going to cost you?
Oh, well, it depends where you want to go. Probably first date with money, first date, and probably want to go drinks. Maybe do 1 drink, 2 drinks. I mean, even if it may be a little bit risky, but you may want to ask, hey, can we split it?
Can we split it? Really?
But I would never say that.
You're going to hit him with, can you split it?
You can say it. I would never split it. But I'm saying, if you have no money, like maybe.
A little dine and dash action here.
I do not recommend any dine and dashing. But yes, I mean, people do what they have to do.
And do New Yorkers get taxed too much?
Of course, it's a joke. I mean, look, there's trash everywhere. I don't know how much more we have to get taxed to pick up the trash on the side of the street. It's disgusting.
What does it take to be able to survive here in New York City?
A lot of patience. I'm about to be 40. The way my mother raised me, I've been working since the age of 16. I had a management job since the age of 17. For instance, this is Manhattan. If you go up to 116th Street in Manhattan, that's called Harlem, but it's still to the Manhattan. You're paying the same price that they're paying down the street down here on 34th Street to live up there.
Really? So no matter where you're at here in Manhattan, you're paying the same price whether you're in Harlem or if you're down here on Fifth Ave.
Yeah, and now since Manhattan is getting away with it, now the other boroughs are starting to do it. The Bronx starting to do it. Queens starting to do it. They're now saying, well, this is the average price in all New York.
And if you want to buy food here in New York City, expect to pay 30% more than the nationwide average. Inside of bodegas and inside of grocery stores, prices are extremely high. If I want to drink an energy drink here in New York City, it's going to cost me around $6 for an energy drink. And for a small box of cereal, you're going to be paying about $8 for this box right here. And because crime is so high, they even have to lock up things like freaking Twinkies and Oreos. After exploring the daily survival it takes from the rich to the poor, it was time to go to the richest part in all of New York City, Billionaire Row, where an average apartment here can cost you anywhere from $30 million to $110 million. Ma'am, you're living here on $1 billion Row here in New York City.
I'm in the $1 billion, yes, this is the $1 billion row, 57, 58, and 59 between 6 and all the way up to Columbus Circus.
What does it take to live here?
Well, you have to have money because let's say if you're going to rent an apartment, a studio apartment where I live has a doorman, it has the laundry, it's a 5-star building. It's about $4,000 for a small studio.
What?
A one bedroom is about 5,000, a little over. So you have to have some money.
Wow. And what did you do to get all your money?
Well, I'm retired. I was a prima ballerina. And I did other things too. I designed. I worked for Valentino, the designer. I was the assistant of the director. After my ballet career was over, because it's a short career, I did a lot of things. I had my own store at the Plaza Hotel. I'm very creative. So you have to be creative.
And how much money do you think somebody needs to have in their bank account to be living here on Billion Dollar Row?
At least $1 million, I think. Or you have to make have a very good salary. Make at least $5,000 a week. Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of trust fund babies moving in here to Billion Dollar Row?
Yes, yeah, lots. They graduate from college, and they the parents move them to Manhattan, mostly from Greenwich Village, from Greenwich, Connecticut.
Life would be great as a trust fund baby, right?
Absolutely.
We all wish we were all trust fund babies.
Yes.
We're on Billionaire Row here in New York City. What does it take to survive here in New York?
Well, I think you have to have a little luck, and you have to be able to have some kind of a plan about a career or some way to make money, because today it's not that easy. When I first arrived 50 years ago, it was a lot easier.
What's good money today here in New York City?
For one person, well, I think you would have to make at least 6 figures, to survive. But I don't think, that's not doable for a lot of people. New York is not an easy place, but it's the best place to possibly have a life.
If you're living rich, life's amazing. You can walk outside of your door, go to Louis Vuitton, go to Gucci, be able to afford a $450 gym membership. But if you're not, life might be a daily struggle here inside of the biggest city and largest city in all of America. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, go ahead, subscribe, drop a like, and I'll see you guys next video.
Yeah, so that's the end of that. I remember when I was a kid coming up, you could get a 2-bedroom. And this is when I was a kid. I wanted to be an adult, because you could get a 2-bedroom for $1,100, $1,200. And we talking about big apartment space. You could really, live a real bachelor life. Or even if you have a family, you could provide and have that. Because I always thought, I was like, yeah, it ain't going to be that hard. You get a city job and you should be okay. And I seen my uncles and older cousins and friends or whatnot, and they was making it happen. I ain't seen them really struggling or whatnot. And I ain't see the people around me struggle like how people today struggle to maintain and survive. It's brutal. And this is a serious conversation. This is a conversation I have all the time, and I have this with my coworkers. I have it with my friends. And my coworkers, they work good jobs. I have it with friends, they work good jobs. I have it with some friends, they do other things on that. And I don't hear nobody saying, yeah, it's easy. No, I ain't stressing. I ain't worried. Everybody, going through it. And I ain't saying people struggling now, but everybody is feeling the wreck of the price increases and the costs of living and how expensive it is. It's affecting everybody. This is a topic, I really wanted to bring to y'all, because I feel like, especially us from New York, we already know that this is a real life thing that people are dealing with every day. I want to hear y'all thoughts on it. Y'all tell me what y'all think down below. Comment, share with a friend. Let's get a conversation going. Till the next one, I'm out.
I got all my dogs with me and we moving. We been plotting on the movement. Swear to God we gon' get it right. Couple bad bros winning, ain't no choosing, ain't no picking, but they know I love them, dog. I just like them when I let you know the deal. Shorty, let me know it's real. I'ma need that little freak to come out tonight. Do you know how it feel to be out up in the field on the blocks with the real? They was out of sight.